people put so much time into the PlayStation, which I call the pay station. You pay with your time to stay stationary, not moving, not ascending in life, not elevating, not striving for better. And it called the Xbox. Your existence X stays in a box as long as you play the Xbox. You never expand, you never grow out and let your hair down and spread your wings. You stay in a box. No one cares how high you rank on the leaderboard. No one cares in real life about your kill death ratio. No one fucking cares about how many wins you've had in the video game. Nobody cares about how many hours you have in the video game. Nobody cares about, I only play for 30 minutes a day. I'm not addicted. No one gives a fuck. Get out of the virtual world, go into the real world. But do keep the skills, do keep that discipline that you have in the video game. Do keep that commitment you have in the video game. Do keep that ambition you have in the video game. And do keep that patience that you have for your characters in the video game. Just transmute all of those good qualities into your video game character, your avatar, your life, and your results in life are gonna go to the next level.
Eating to live, yeah, I'm living to eat. Catch me enjoying vegan recipes. Fiend for chlorophyll.
Greetings, it's your boy Gartatia. Today, sipping on my tea a little bit because my throat and my body. Today we are here talking about video games. Stop playing video games before it's too late. And I say this as a former video game addict. I say this as someone who lost friends, someone who lost relationships, and most importantly, someone who lost precious time absorbing and soaking and giving all my time and energy to these video games, specifically these MMORPG video games, these role-playing, create an avatar, immerse yourself into a world, go get a quest and level up type games. These specifically, especially for young men, have the potential to trap and suck young men in at an early age when they're developing their ambition, when they're developing who they are, when they're developing hobbies and things they want to take serious in life. These video games trap them in. Usually around the age of 12 or 11, you start getting into kind of these MMORPG, World of Warcraft type games. That's usually the age where the ancient Greeks or the ancient African civilizations would send these young boys into the wild and let them fend for themselves. That's kind of the age where you go on your trek of manhood. And these MMORPG games are specifically targeted to these young men at these young age, these kids, these 11, 12, 13 puberty age boys, so that instead of actually doing that in real life, taking some risk, asking to start taking wrestling serious, asking to start doing coaching on the side, taking basketball more serious, asking to start, maybe they're really interested in marketing, maybe they're really interested in selling things, start building their business, redirect that extra energy of ambition that a lot of young men naturally have. That's the age where kids want to start building stuff. But what happens is these games are right in their face and they say, why build stuff in real life when I can get that dopamine hit, when I can check off that list of I feel accomplished, check off that list of working on something virtually. And not only virtually, it's like without all the risk, and it's much easier. Like in real life, you say you want to be the best engineer, say you want to be the best coder because you want to grow up and you want to code video games. That was one of my personal dreams as a kid. I just wanted to grow up and work for like Activision or be a game designer for Naughty Dog, because that's all I did was play these video games, and then I would love watching the behind the scenes. So in real life, if there weren't all these MMORPGs, in real life, what would a kid who was passionate about that do? A kid who was passionate about that would beg their mom to get them a computer, would beg their dad, I want to be a coder. I want to program video games. Give me the software. Give me Python or whatever coders use. Give me this animation program so I can start animating. What do you start doing at this age of creativity? You start experimenting. You start putting in the time, your free time, your hobby. Your hobby becomes what you're passionate about because you're not constantly putting it into video games. And that's how you get these child prodigies. That's how you get these people, they go into college and then they excel and exceed expectations when they go to college because their youth wasn't snatched from them by video games. Their youth wasn't snatched from them by these MMORPGs. Instead, they use that creative energy of that kind of coming of age energy that a lot of young men possess, and they channel it into something actually that gives value. They channel it into something that they're passionate about. And people are passionate about video games. However, the passion of video games, you work really hard towards something. I spent, you want to see something, hear something depressing? I probably spent, and I remember the number. There was this one game called Napoleon Total War. And it wasn't an MMORPG, but it's a strategy game. So strategy, MMORPG, I'm kind of grouping them. And I was checking how long I spent. It was upwards of like 1,200 something hours. So let's do the math, guys. So you have 24 hours in a day, and you have 100 days would be 2,400 hours. I had like 1,200 hours. So what's that? I spent 50 days straight playing that game over the course of a year. So you break that down. You break that down. So that's, if you break that out, how much, there's 365 days in a year, and I spent 50 days. So 50 days of the 365 days, 24 hours of the days I was doing it. So it's 52 weeks in a year, right? So that means upwards of 1 day a week I was spending that completely day playing that game. And this is in school. This is in while I'm at my most busiest time in my life. So let's do the math. So that's 24 hours in a week. Break that down by 7. So I was spending upwards of 3 to 4 hours a day playing these games. And that's just, and this is during school. This is during like my junior year and senior year of college, of high school. So imagine 3 to 4 hours on these games a day over the course of a year. That's a lot of time. 3 to 4 hours that I could have been spending researching what I'm passionate about. 3 to 4 hours what I could have been spending. Say if I want to be an anime designer or a cartoon drawer, I could have been drawing. 3 to 4 hours of my time. I started writing a book around like 11 or 12 before I got addicted to video games. I could have been spending 3 or 4 hours writing my book. Spending those 3 to 4 hours getting immersed and modeling and studying, great authors like J.R.R. Tolkien, studying great authors like the Narnia guy, the guy who wrote Narnia, studying great authors like the guy who wrote Game of Thrones, and seeing how they, like reading books and applying it to me. So much time. If I wanted to be a cook, I could have spent those 3 to 4 hours buying a cookbook, experimenting with recipes, or just going to other people's houses who cook, or helping my grandma who's alive at the time, or my mom who do cook, asking them questions like, how do I cook this? How do I cook that? If I wanted to be a racer, or if I wanted to be NASCAR, whatever my dreams wanted to be, I'm spending time with my dad at an oil change. What are these mechanics doing? What's the transmission look like? 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder, 16-cylinder car. How fast does that go? You get where I'm going with this. What I'm trying to say is a lot of our time are stolen from us from these, especially strategy, StarCraft type, League of Legends type video games, or these MMORPG like World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings Online type video games, completely stolen from us precious time in the most creative times of our lives of young men at this age of where you're coming of age, where you're hungry for ambition and you just want to penetrate the world with your enthusiasm and energy, and instead you just penetrate the pixels on the TV screen and go really deep, leveling up your character, go really deep, slaying these orcs and getting experience, going really deep, going to these different towns, traveling the map of this virtual world, leveling up, getting pets in this virtual world, buying houses, buying property in this virtual world, networking and communicating with other people in this virtual world, forming groups in this virtual world, and doing raids, going into dungeons. And I'm not gonna lie, it's fun. It's really fun, especially the networking and social aspect. I will say you build some sort of social skills, so it's better than, I guess, not playing online at all, because at least online you are communicating with people. However, you waste so much time into leveling up your virtual character, and at the expense of unleveling or destroying or removing your actual character, the opportunity of leveling up. And I was just hanging with a friend over the weekend when I was at this rave, and he is doing great now. He is engaged to his girlfriend. Everything's looking good. His music, he's about to drop an EP, and he's looking great. I'm super proud of him. He's looking better than ever before. And he was telling me how he has a long history of addicted to World of Warcraft, these MMORPGs. And he mentioned how he would just play video games, come back from work, just chopping away on the keyboard all day, and how his relationship with his ex-girlfriend suffered, how his relationship with his family suffered, how his friend circle evaporated, how his health deteriorated, how he developed all these problems at a young age, how he developed back pain, how he developed hygiene problems. Like, some people sit glued to their computer desk, their game station, and don't fucking take a shit, don't fucking clean the kitchen, don't fucking clean the house, don't take a shower, and it's just disgusting. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I remember at my worst hygiene wise, it was when I was addicted to video games. Video games sap all the energy of wanting to improve yourself in any way online or in real life. And it's like, I wish it wasn't like that, and I wish there were studies to prove me wrong, because they are so fun. But unfortunately, the brain is over 2.5 million years of evolution. The brain is wired to do the least amount of work to get the most reward possible. The brain doesn't differentiate what's actual success versus how it feels. So the brain will do as much as it can to get that cheap fix, to get that dopamine hit out of a task. And the brain is like, okay, I could hop on this computer screen, go pick up a quest, go raid this village, go get this special magic sword, and then level up and get this huge dopamine hit and feel amazing for a few minutes. Or I could go to the gym, destroy and sweat and burn all these calories on the treadmill, then lift weights and push through the pain, and then jog back sweating and it's hot outside for another dopamine hit that feels less than or maybe equal to that hit of literally just eating potato chips and clicking away on the computer screen. So you see how the brain works? So once given the opportunity, the brain will automatically always choose the video game route. It's as if real life achievement doesn't even stand a chance. So I say that to say, not to excuse this behavior. I am saying to say, I understand why it's so hard to quit video game addiction. I understand how the brain and how the science points in the direction of there's no hope if you're addicted to video games. Why it's so hard. And I wish there were studies showing that video games weren't terrible for you, that video games were good for you, but the facts don't lie. What do you see around you? You see people's relationships falling apart. You see people's social skills, their standards, their morals go into the gutter when they just let their life waste away into these virtual worlds. And going back to that friend, the only good thing I would say about video games is, and this is only like MMORPG video games, I will say this. Of all other video game addiction people, the people who come out of MMORPG video game addiction, I believe, are better off than people who come out of like maybe Call of Duty addiction, or people who come out of like strategy game addiction, or people who come out of like, I never understood this addiction, like people addicted to 2K or like addicted to Madden or something. Listen, to each their own, but the people who come out of those addictions, good, because now you have your time back. However, the people who come out of MMORPG addiction, myself included, and a lot of friends who are successful today, when I ask them about their history and their hobbies in the past, a lot of them were addicted to video games. And when I asked them what kind of video games, a lot of them were addicted to computer MMO role-playing video games. So I will say the trend of people who are allured to MMORPG video games, and this is not me being a Jordan Peterson, this is not me being a shrink. However, abundant evidence is pointing to the direction that these people typically have a lot of ambition. They actually do. These games they are actually not the most brain dead games. You do need to be kind of smart to play these games. You do need to have a lot of patience to play these games. Some of these games, you once you get like to the higher levels, like level 80, level 90 and shit, sometimes you're on the same level for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's just grinding, grinding, grinding. That experience bar getting closer and closer, closer. Week 1, it's like a quarter inch. Week 2, it's like halfway there. Week 3, it's like 3/4, and then it's like that last feeling and it's like the longer that experience bar takes to get to the next level, the more like hyped you are. Like I would be so furious if my experience level was like literally almost at the tip and like electricity went off or some shit. That's how people like rage. Like they had this term back in the day, like rage quitters, or like when you rage is when you just throw your computer and punch your computer screen. When like all that hard work you put into leveling up, that progress gets wiped out. So I say that to say, people who are addicted to MMORPGs, there's hope for you all at the end of the tunnel. If you all can overcome that addiction and literally just translate that ambition you have on leveling up your black orc, or translate that ambition you have of leveling up your level 66 hunter, or translate that ambition you have of leveling your 76 level dark elf or some shit. Translate that into real life. These gamers will spend days, weeks on the same level, grinding, taking up quests, doing raids, doing all these incremental steps that take up so much time, mining for minerals, saving up money in the game, and going back to the main town and selling like the mines and the resources they mined, selling their armor, selling the craft. Some people in the game will develop a profession in the game just to make money in the game, to buy weapons in the game and armor in the game so that they can go on raids in the game and get experience in the game so they can go to the next level. People in the game get actual like carpentry jobs, or like get like a blacksmith profession where they make swords, or get like a farming profession where they literally cook and grow food and shit, and do all this in the game, and search high and low and defeat the biggest, most scary, daunting beasts and tasks, and accomplish them in the game, and are respected in the game, and get clout in the game, and have all of this fame and notoriety in the game, and then they go into the real world and then they're nobody. And I feel like that's the problem. People, their entire lives end up being in the game, and when you get to that point, it makes it harder to quit. So what I submit to you all, people addicted to MMORPG games, I submit to you, take the little steps to build a life outside of the games. I used to be there. I used to be addicted to these MMORPGs. The only thing that got me out was, first of all, having a roommate who was completely opposite to me helped. I had a roommate in college. So if you are in college, try to stay on the dorms, get out of your environment, because your environment is the number one thing that keeps you stuck, addicted to video games. Like if you've been addicted to video games all throughout high school, your brain is used to the same pattern. So it's used to the environment, which is the cue. The environment, which is the cue, is seeing your computer chair and your computer already being on and seeing the home page. That's the cue. So you see the cue, you go through the habit. What's the next step? The next step is cue. The next step after cue is craving. What are you craving? Now you're craving that, you get that feeling like, oh, I can't wait to hop back on that game so I can go to level 72. That's the craving. Oh, it's going to feel so good when I get to level 72. It's irresistible. And then you hop in your computer chair and you load up the game, right? And then you start playing. Then you go to the next step, which is response. So the response is loading up the game, playing the game, grinding. That's the response. It's the action part. And then the reward is when you get to level 73. And then it's like, oh, it feels amazing. And that process repeats. That process keeps going. But when you get out of the environment, there might be other cues, but there's one less cue. And you want to make your environment the less triggering and with least amount of cues as possible, so that you find yourself less inclined to hop on these video games and pour all your time and energy into the games. So moving on out of campus, or even switch up, or fucking like hiding your computer. Like every time you finish playing, put your computer in the closet or something, so that it's just harder to go from that cue to craving, and craving to response. You'll crave it, but then like you won't really go to response because it's like, oh, now I gotta start the computer. Now I gotta hook the cords up. So you might not even do it. So you basically, to break these habits, you want to make it as hard as possible. You want to make it so hard to do that action to the point where the brain is like, you know what, I'm just gonna play outside. You know what, I'm just gonna climb a tree. You know what, instead, maybe I'll do something else, like hop on my phone, or like, or maybe I'm gonna go play cards, or I'm gonna go play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends. Just anything else, because it doesn't want to start up your computer and all that. So these are some ways that you can get out of this addiction. When you're on, if you're in a college dorm, don't get somebody who's also a gamer. Get like someone completely opposite. Get like a jock to be your roommate if you can. Somebody who is like a sports head, or someone who is just completely not about that life, a super socialite, someone with like great interpersonal skills, someone who's always like, yo, let's go outside, let's go to this party, yo, let's go outside, let's talk to these girls. Even if it's that, going to parties and talking to girls, I feel like that's still a step better than if you're just hooked in your computer screen gaming all day. Because at least when you're going out, meeting people, talking to girls, even though your intentions may not be the best, your actions of communicating and talking to people, these are skills that will serve you for the rest of your life. So go out, even if it's going through a degenerate phase. A degenerate phase is better than no phase at all, which is you at your comfort zone, addicted and glued to the video game. And I've seen people in college who had the roommates who did the same shit, and it was like, oh, it's so fun, I get to play online with my roommates, play StarCraft with my roommate, my teammates right there, I don't even got to use the microphone. And it's like, yeah, but guess what, now it's graduation date, and you didn't have any college experience, and you don't have no social skills, and now you have no experience, and now you're going into the workforce, and you're not going to get any of those interviews because the fucking employers talk to you and you can't hold a conversation and you can't hold eye contact. So guess what? You got a 3.9 GPA, but you score on a scale of 1 to 10, you score a 3.9 of desirability. You score a 3.9 out of 10 of employability. You score a 3.9 out of 10 on personality. You score a 3.9 out of 10 on attractiveness too, because girls don't want to date somebody who doesn't know how to talk, someone who doesn't have any hobby, someone who prioritizes and puts video games on a pedestal and is not going to treat them right. Why would I want to date somebody who is going to basically worship the computer and use me just for sex, basically, or like when I feel sad and lonely? Nobody. And then these people become incels and they hate the world. It's like, nobody. Try first before you become an incel. But anywho, that's a whole other topic. But video games, it is taking over your life, and you just need to stop now before it's too late. I don't want to fucking hear that, oh, I don't have an addictive personality, or like, I promise, like, I make sure I get everything done first. I make sure I've cleaned my house, I make sure I've cooked dinner, I make sure I wash the clothes, and I make sure I fed the dog and all that shit. And then like, I deserve a little 1 hour to myself to hop on the little Midnight Club, or to hop on the little League of Legends, or to hop on the little Fortnite before I go to bed. Just a little hour, and that puts me to sleep. Shut the fuck up. We all know good and well you're not playing for an hour. We all know good and well you do have an addictive personality. First of all, I hate that word, addictive. There's no fucking addictive personality. Everybody has an addictive personality. It just matters that habit. Is that habit serving you? Is it something that you crave? Or is it something that's making your life in an area that you lack? Is it something that is filling that need in an area that you lack? So there's nobody without an addictive personality. It just means in that area that you have a weakness, or that you are addicted to, you'll be addicted to that thing. People just have different addictions, but we all have addictive personalities. So don't hit me with the, oh, I don't have I'm immune to the impulse. I'm immune to the cravings. I'm immune. Shut the fuck up. You're not immune. And you're not playing for 1 hour a day. You might play for 1 hour a day one day, but then guess what? One day you'll get super hooked and you'll be up till like 3 a.m. And now you have work at 5 a.m. And then you're going to call in sick because you're going to sleep in. And then it just spirals into this hole. Now you're going to hate yourself the next day because you feel like a simp because you basically poured your soul out all night grinding and you still didn't win that Fortnite. You still didn't win that get that kill streak in Call of Duty. You put in all that work. So it's a never ending cycle of you just chasing the carrot, chasing that feeling that you got that one time from the video game when you accomplished that one rare feat or got that one rare magical sword that you got clout on the video game for, but in real life, none of that shit matters. No one cares how high you rank on the leaderboards. No one cares in real life. Bro, I got a 18 match kill streak. And people with the kill death ratio. Bro, guess what? What's my KD ratio? My KD ratio is 1.2. My KD ratio is 3.8. Shut the fuck up. It's like a dick measuring contest. Like, no one fucking cares about your kill death ratio. No one fucking cares about how many wins you've had in the video game. Nobody cares about how many hours you have in the video game. Nobody cares about that you only play for 30 minutes a day. I'm not addicted. No one gives a fuck. Get out of the virtual world, go into the real world. But do keep the skills, do keep that discipline that you have in the video game. Do keep that commitment you have in the video game. Do keep that ambition you have in the video game. And do keep that patience that you have for your characters in the video game. Just transmute all of those good qualities into your video game character, your avatar, your life. And your results in life are going to go to the next level. Right? Like, people put so much time into the PlayStation, which I call the pay station, because you pay with your time to stay stationary in a virtual world. Stay stationary, not moving, not ascending in life, not elevating, not striving for better. And it called the Xbox. Your existence, X, stays in a box as long as you play the Xbox. You never expand. You never grow out and let your hair down and spread your wings. You stay in a box. So remember that. PlayStation and Xbox. Because that's what they are. They are traps. They are soul killing. And if you don't wake up from these dreams, if you don't wake up from these false ambition and soul draining consoles, you will continue to never be what you were born to be. You will continue to never give the gift to the world that the world deserves and that you desire mostly to give. And your legacy will disappear. And your grandkids and your kids' kids and your kids, no one's going to remember you when you die. And if that's what you want, fantastic. But yeah, us in the treehouse gang, nah. When we go, the world is gonna go wow, and it's gonna end with a bang, right? But yeah, I hope this helped. Stop fucking playing video games before it's too late. But anywho, yeah, just have to get that off my chest. I know this is kind of a rant, but yeah, video games are just really personal for me. So I get a little, cause like I'm a recovering, used to be addicted, but yeah, it's just all of this is out of love, and I hope this rung a bell with somebody. And yeah, as always, stay hydrated, stay breathing in that good ass oxygen, and most importantly, stay basic. I love you.